Welcome to the American Citizen Journal. I want to talk for a minute about self governance and legislation, what laws we have consented to, and how does the lawmaking take place through our consent. Where do the ideas for new laws come from? And I think this is where the American citizen needs to think about what laws we have communicated to our representatives that we need, because this should be the basis of our lawmaking. So we might ask, how are some of these other laws coming about? Did we consent to some of these laws that are being made? How are they being introduced? Who told the representatives that, hey, we need this law and we'd like you to introduce this bill into the lawmaking body, whether it be state or federal? And I think this is a critical time to think about this, because there are some laws that we may look at and say, well, wait a minute, what persons or groups of people would have advocated to have this law made? And is this a law of our consent? Because it seems that there's a lot of legislation that takes place that is outside of the realm of the self governance of the American citizen. So we need to think about these things and to ask these questions. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a law in New York State, a motor vehicle law, where there's an assessment fee. If you get so many points on your license, the state assesses you an additional fee. So I think to myself, well, we're paying a fee for the infraction of the law. So if we get a speeding ticket or ran a red light or whatever the vehicle infraction may be, we were assessed a penalty and we paid that penalty. So now, on top of this, the state had decided that they would pass a law that would cause us to have to pay an additional fee. And I ask myself, where did this law come from? Whose idea was it to impose this law? And what is the basis of need for this law? And who had consented to the introduction of this law? So, and perhaps there were individuals or groups of people that said, hey, we think we have a problem and this is how we think the problem should be solved, and we think we need a law put in place to do this. I can't answer that question, but I can raise the question as to what was the process that was involved that led to the creation of this law. What interests is it serving? Is it serving the interest of the American citizen? Or is it serving some other interest, the interest of the state itself, the institution itself? Or is it serving the interests of the industry that might, the insurance industry or other industry that might benefit from it? So I raise these questions to the American citizen just to bring up a very important point of how we need to consider what is being done that is supposedly on our behalf as an extension of our self governance through our interest and influence. Because sometimes it seems like those things are a little murky and a little unclear. And again, we look at some of these laws and we ask, who would have consented to this? And why is this law needed? The purpose should be to serve the interest of the American citizen. It shouldn't be to finance the institution of governance because they might feel they need more money. So, as we move forward to start to become more critical of how our republic is functioning through our self governance and through the methods and mechanisms that are supposed to allow us to determine these things and to determine our needs, These are some of the things we may want to look at and some of the questions we may want to ask. And one good way to begin this is to start looking at some of the different laws that may be affecting you from your state or from the federal government, and start to question where these laws came from. And you can go and look up to see who has introduced these laws, and if they happen to be your representatives that you are the constituent of, then you go to them and say, hey, where did this law originate? Why did this law originate? These are some of the things that we can do to become a little more active in determining whether or not the institution is acting truly on our behalf, and whether or not they are moving our influence and our self-governance into the system, or are they acting on their own behalf or on behalf of industry as opposed to on behalf of the American citizen. Hope this is helpful. Join us, like us, invite your friends. Thank you.